Okay, good evening, everyone. You all look ready to engage in our final round for the case competition for the first year seminar. Thank you so much for all of your hard work over the course of the semester. We'd like to thank all of the professors, Professor Sharp, Professor Brennan, Professor Andreessen, and professors in absentia. Would like to thank all of our coaches. Please wave. Thank you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Because of all of your hard work, we don't want this moment to go uncaptured. And so there will be both photography and video to capture this evening, but you won't even notice. Okay. Good luck to all of the teams. Again, you'll have 10 minutes to offer your proposal to our panel of judges, and then they will ask you some questions for a period no longer than 5 minutes, and then we will transition to the next team. We do have an order, and I will call you up in order, but before we proceed, I'd like to ask the judges to introduce themselves to you at this moment.
I'm Jonathan Plater. I'm the CFO at the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Lyle, the Development Coordinator at the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home.
And I'm Ward Oram, the CEO of the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home. Sorry about the shouting.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you again. Sue Hargraves, the Administrator of the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home.
Hello, Betsy Griffith, Dean of the MBA Marketing and New Program Development upstairs. And good to see you here again. Can't wait to see what you got for us.
Thank you to our judges. I'd like to call up our first team.
All right, so my name is Samin Rai. This is Nicholas, Tali, Daniela, and Thomas. This is our case project on the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home. The main goal of the home is to provide extraordinary health and life care services to indigent and modest income seniors of the District of Columbia, empowering them to live their lives to the fullest.
All right, so about 2 months ago, Warden Sue came and they saw us and they confronted us with a problem. To keep it short, the problem is they're losing money. The Medicaid, the Medicare, their donations are just not keeping up with their general running costs. And they also presented the idea of a gala. They really wanted to host a gala in May. So although the main problem was the loss of the money, we thought the gala was a good idea because not only will it bring us $75,000, hopefully, it'll also deal with our second problem, which, as Ward very bluntly put it, it's not a sexy charity. And for galas, you want to attract the big companies, the big customers, the big bucks that the Leukemia Ball or any cancer charity or an AIDS charity would attract. So throughout this presentation, you're going to see a repeated theme of we really want to keep it fun and we want to keep it young, so that so that as well as the charity, they're going to come to this gala for a fun party, a fun night out. Here are some of the aspects we're going to talk about.
All right, so going along with the whole fun and young theme, we decided that a great theme for the event would be splash of color. The idea would be that people would dress with, formal idea, but with a splash of color. So if you look at our socks, our shirts, obviously we wouldn't wear t-shirts, but that's the idea. As well as being a fun and young theme, it connects the artistic passions of the residents. When you guys came presenting, you focused a lot on the artwork and how that is like a very, very big hobby among the residents. So not only would the dress of the event be with a splash of color, but also we're thinking the decorations, even the time of year, May, it's a very colorful, spring to summer transition. So all of these things would go into playing into the theme and making it a really young, vibrant party.
So where is this fun party going to be? We found a venue just here in DC called the Powerhouse. We liked it for a few reasons. First of all, it's in Georgetown, which is, I think, a good area for a lot of the customers we're trying to attract. It's a self-titled, new, innovative event space in the center of Georgetown. It fits around 450 people, which I think is a good size for this type of gala. It offers a 20% discount for nonprofits, which is something we are really trying to do. You need to keep the cost down if we're trying to hit $75,000, which is really a very large sum. But more than that, we found it sexy, young, the type of thing we're going for. It has a very up-and-coming Brooklyn-esque type of feel, alternative. It's not the Ritz. It's not the Four Seasons. It's not going to be your standard stuffy, luxurious thing. It's going to be, yes, it's going to be formal, and yes, it might be expensive, but it's going to be beautiful and young and a lot of fun.
All right, so next we tackled the problem of entertainment. We decided to go with the Georgetown Jazz Ensemble. There are a few reasons. First, it's affordable. They only charge $1,000. Secondly, the type of music. We think that jazz is a very good genre for an event like this. You can play slow, nice, easygoing jazz for dinner, and maybe a little bit more upbeat if people want to start dancing. The nice thing is we already contacted them and talked to them about doing this event, and they said that yes, they would be more than willing to. They've done events like this in the past, so they're very experienced, and they're close. It's just convenient. On top of that, we also considered the idea of these party makers where you can subtly hire someone to go and get the party started, maybe dance. People are going to be shy. It's just another way to have it be fun and lively.
And they also keep the average age down, which is sort of nice. For catering, we've been looking at DC Central Kitchen because it's another nonprofit, which is nice. This is a very established nonprofit, which means we could piggyback off of them and hopefully sort of produce a sustainable relationship in the future. As well as that, if you don't know, DC Central Kitchens is America's leader in reducing hunger with recycled food, training unemployed adults for culinary careers, serving healthy school meals, and rebuilding urban food systems through social enterprise. So although they do have these public centers within the town, they also offer catering. And we thought it might be a bit cheap for this type of event, but we looked at a lot of their food, and it looks just the type of food you'd want at this event. I mean, the salmon looks glorious. It's very affordable. It's about $24 per person, which again is going to bring down the costs and hopefully let us hit that $75,000 we're looking for. Yeah.
All right, so one of the biggest points of revenue for an event like this is the auction. First and foremost, we thought a silent auction would be more appropriate. For a live auction, you need to hire someone. Someone's going to be loud and annoying, kind of ruin the ambiance. So the first items that we would want to auction off are some of the artwork. We know that the home doesn't really like to emphasize the whole idea of profiting from the artwork or off of the residents. But we thought that a few items, with the whole splash of color theme and having it be such a staple of the home would be a good idea. Other items would be gathered from sponsor donations, which we'll talk about sponsorship a little bit later. But the idea is to get the typical dinners out, experiences like a vacation, maybe a car, even though that would be kind of pushing it. It would be great and beneficial for the event.
The sale is very much going to fit into the theme, hopefully. We want to have at the entrance clothing based on the art. And although you've done this before, we heard that you had some very beautiful pants made. We were thinking about an article of clothing that's a bit more socially acceptable to be, flamboyantly colorful, like scarves, like belts, like ties, like socks. And as well as that, these types of items are sort of one size fits all, which means you don't have to have racks of small, large. It's not going to look like a shop. It's going to be very easy, very neat, very good looking. As well as that, to advertise these, we're hoping to have our servers, our DJ, our whoever is working around wearing these things. And at the beginning of the night, they'll introduce themselves saying that whatever they're wearing is for sale tonight. Most things they're wearing is for sale tonight. We contacted you about prices for the pants, and we were trying to do the spoon flower also. We don't know if it will be possible because all we got were prices for t-shirts and pants, which isn't really the direction we're going with. And yeah, that's about it. All right, here's where we really encountered the second problem, the lack of notoriety. So we had a strong push in marketing, and obviously in the era we're in, large part of the marketing is going to be on social media. So we contacted David Castine, who said he'd be willing to work with us. And David Castine is this new type of, social animal who is on Twitter and has 110,000 followers. Which on Twitter doesn't sound that much, but that's a huge amount of people. I mean, if you could get a word out to 110,000 people, it's a huge influence. It's 1/70th the population of my home country, to put into perspective. So not only could David Castine help us with, he has this huge base of followers that could, help spread the message, but also, obviously, he's been very successful. And on top of that, he's a graduate student at Georgetown, which means he's right next door, he's willing to help us, which would be great. For those who are possibly a bit older and maybe don't have a Facebook account or a Twitter account, we contacted Elizabeth Howe, a Georgetown alum, at the Washington Post about maybe getting a discount at putting an ad in the Washington Post, which is a well-respected newspaper that would, we think, cater to the type of people that we hope to cater for. On top of that, the Washington Post has a gift matching program. So if someone maybe doesn't want to come to the event, they can donate through the gift matching program that'll match any donation.
All right, so next we're going to talk about sponsorship. Sponsorship would have 4 levels: Vermilion Visionary, Lavender Leader, Baby Blue Benefactor, Purple Patron. The first thing that some of you from the home might notice is that the nouns are all from the existing donor list already. There's already a Visionary level, a Leader level, Benefactor, and a Patron level. We chose those nouns just because we think that if you're going to invite a lot of your donors, it gives them familiarity. They'll kind of already know, oh, I belong with this group. But then it also gives them the opportunity on a minor level to maybe take the next step up. As well as that, we have the lavender, baby blue, purple, and vermilion. Those just go along again with our theme of color and the splash of color. When we talked about decorating the tables earlier, we were hoping that we would decorate the sponsors' tables with this color, just so everyone kind of likes a little recognition that, oh, like I'm sponsoring, that sort of thing. And on top of that, we'd also put their names in pamphlets, brochures, programs, maybe throw in a VIP bag.
As in who we invite, we would obviously start off with who we know with the donor list, which I believe is about 300 to 350 people. And then after that, branch out with the marketing we are going for. The other thing we want to touch upon is we really want to make a push with the local businesses around the area, because as you mentioned, you're in a quite expensive area, and so people think that you might not need the donations that you actually do need. So if you get them to come, not only will they have a great time, but they'll also realize that you guys might need a little help, and they might be able to give that. On top of that, they would probably be very willing to be sponsors, because the people that we'll have at this party will be the type of people that could use their services.
All right, so when we look at how much money we are going to make, looking at our costs, catering, entertainment, venue, Powerhouse is actually 20% off to nonprofits, so that was another added bonus to that venue. Open bar, clothing, decorations, and just a miscellaneous emergency fund. So here are our ticket prices as well as some of the costs and expected revenue we had. With our estimates and costs and revenue, we comply with the budget of $50,000 as well as the $75,000 profit.
Every sponsorship comes with a certain number of seats. So we're assuming about 110 people would actually be sponsored, and then another 310 would just be normal ticket buying people. We've added miscellaneous for some last-minute emergencies. Obviously, the auction is still very debatable because you don't know how much people will be willing to spend. And then we have the 2 targets at the top. We have the target budget, which we've reached, and the target profit, which we have reached. And that's our gala.
Can you go back one slide? And let's, just look at that. So you are envisioning having 310 guest buying tickets, of which this 25, 30, about 30 would be sponsors, and then the rest would just be buying individual tickets.
No, about 110 would be sponsors.
110. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I see. Oh, that's.
Oh, at a ticket price of 175, we failed to mention. It's around a bit of a standard gala price for a ticket. It's actually a bit less.
Good. Thanks.
I'm interested in the open bar, naturally, at $5,000. Is that a drink limit for guests, or is that 5,000 bar open all night?
We already contacted so Powerhouse gave us a vendor list. They suggested us to work with the alcohol people they know. We contacted them, but they didn't give us an exact price because we don't know when we will do it and how many people will attend. But we're in contact with them, and they seem like what they're doing. So that's an estimate, but we'll have an exact number.
Was the caterer part of Powerhouse's approved list vendor?
They have suggested a couple of vendors, caterers. We contacted them too, and they gave us the exact same response. They say, give us the exact date, give us the exact details, and we will give you the price. PC Catering, we're not sure.
But
We've looked at a lot of the past events at Powerhouse, and they seem to be very generous towards nonprofits. Obviously they're taking 20% off. I think they wouldn't be too stiff on the regulations.
We do have a vendor list.
So under the fixed costs, miscellaneous, is that DJ, linens, flowers?
Linen and flowers would hopefully fit into decorations. Miscellaneous is, it's tough to know everything you're going to need until the last moment. As well as that, the auction is still very variable depending on what other sponsors you get, which means we might have to buy the items for the auction. Again, open bar was just an estimate, so we added the miscellaneous. It's just to cover, a lot of the other estimates, just in case.
Well, I have one last comment, I think. First of all, I think this was an excellent presentation, and thank you so much. I have something a little bit, just a question for me. What goes in a VIP bag? What would your recommendations be?
It very much depends on sponsorship.
Okay, so it would be something that the sponsors might be able to give to us
For free.
for
Yeah.
the people who are the highest sponsors.
Yeah.
I want one.
We were looking at iPhone cases, personalized with the art on the back, or stuff like that, free clothing, but it's still very much, if you can get a luxury brand like Hermes, it would be great. You can get, ribbons for your wrists, and stuff like that, but it's still very much up in the air.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
So this is our 2013 Lisbon Louise Dixon Heard Home Gala presentation. We recommend holding it on Friday, May 16th, from 6:30 to 10 p.m. It's a Friday evening, so that's approximately the best time for a gala, given the people who want to. We recommend holding it at the Hotel Monaco, which is a very nice 4-star hotel, which is in Friendship Heights, about 1.5 miles from downtown DC and about 7 miles from the Lisbon Louise Dixon Heard Home. So very centrally located.
So our theme for the gala is May Flowers, and we believe it's an appropriate metaphor for what we're trying to do because it represents new beginnings and fresh opportunities. We believe that is in connection with what the gala is trying to achieve. Excuse me. We believe that it not only represents the new beginnings for the fundraising and the development, but also represents what the home gives to its residents. It represents the new beginnings and fresh starts that they didn't really have when they were younger. So it's also a fun and energizing theme, but it's not quite tacky. For this reason, we call it theme-based, but it's not theme-driven. We don't want the theme to kind of dominate the message of the night.
So here we have the target audience breakdown. So for this, this is the first gala, so we'd like to, for this one, we'd like to focus on the friends and supporters of the home. So the Hotel Monaco can hold 250 people, and that's what we're going to shoot for. So 150 of them we'd like to be friends of the home. So that means people with direct connections or indirect connections. Another 50 to be board members and their families or spouses and employees of the home, and then 50 seats for corporate sponsors. We're going to be selling tickets at $250 per ticket. And again, for this gala, we're going to concentrate on the Friendship Heights area, that neighborhood, and then in future galas build off of that area.
And for this reason, since we're focusing largely on the Friendship Heights neighborhood, when we looked at the demographics, there are about 4,000 households in the neighborhood, but only about 1,000 of them were single or had young kids. And so for that reason, there was not a huge need to push for a social marketing, to have a social marketing drive in terms of to publicize this event, because for the most part, the people who are looking to attend this event are not using social media.
Yeah, just one more additional point. Social marketing is very sexy. It's a very sexy idea, not always necessary.
So again, since this is a Friday evening, this is a proposed schedule for what would work on a Friday night. We begin reception at around 6:30 p.m., which gives ample time if people are leaving work. It would then be followed by cocktails, silent auction, then speeches by the CEO of the home, and then the speaker, which we'll get to in a moment, followed by dinner entertainment and concluding speeches and services.
So we really want to continue the sponsorships and the relations we've had in the past. And this is a list of the sponsors from the 2012 Premier Spring event. One to note is Morrison Senior Living, which I'll get to in the next slide. We also recognize the importance of reaching out to new corporate sponsors. Like Morrison Senior Living, Sunrise Senior Living is a for-profit senior living home. And we believe that because they have the same mission, they want to create, a comfortable and enjoyable last couple years for the residents. But they don't really compete with the LLDH home because the people are low income and cannot pay for Sunrise or Morrison. Also, Geico is a Chevy Chase based company known for being very socially responsible. Xerox, the number 2 person on the board at LLDH, whose name is escaping me right now. We hope to create a connection with her and Xerox. And Living Social, another DC-based company known for being socially responsible.
It's important to stress what Dan said on that first point for Sunrise Senior Living. There may come a time when the home has to turn away certain potential residents for the case that they don't fit the typical member they would have for the home. And in such a scenario, it would be great if they had a relationship with a place like Sunrise Senior Living, because then they can direct them to such a location, and that could be a beneficial outcome of such a relationship.
So to go along with the flower theme of the gala, we broke up our sponsorship brackets into roses. So you have the Red Rose Club, the Yellow Rose Club, the Pink Rose, Orange Rose, and then the premier sponsorship bracket is the White Rose Club. And naturally, each of these clubs has its different benefits and rewards, and we'll get into those in a second.
So for the most part, you'll see that our sponsorship rewards are largely advertisement-based for the reason that it would be offered to corporations. And so as a result, we think that by relying on the access that the home has through their board of directors and through the friends that they have already and the friends that we hope to grow to, the clubs will allow them to have strong access to such people. And for example, in the White Rose Club, which is essentially the VIP club, beyond things like an exclusive table at the gala, they'll also have exclusive access to members of the home, as we recommend. And that would give them greater access and a greater audience to kind of capture.
So one fun activity that we have planned for the night is a wine tasting. It doesn't dominate the night, but it kind of loosens up the crowd, and it gets them ready to spend some money, to be honest with you. Our recommended vendor is Paul's Wine and Spirits. It's located in Friendship Heights. Reasonable prices, select array of wines. It was mentioned at our last presentation that we may want to look into some more upscale Virginia wineries, but we're not really the experts on wine for obvious reasons, so we figured that you guys can handle that. So we're asking that Paul's or whoever is vending to offer a free wine tasting and a couple of silent auction baskets. And in exchange for providing this, Paul's gets exposure to a very influential, very connected Friendship Heights customer base.
So like the previous group, we decided that we wanted to do a silent auction, but not a live auction. We felt the live auction would, create a lot of noise that was just unnecessary. So we were hoping that the residents of the home would be able to donate, 10 or 15 pieces of flower-themed artwork. Like the representative said, you don't want to turn the home into a sweatshop. And we think 10 or 15 pieces is very reasonable. And then we hope to sell those at about $50 per piece. And then going off the idea of turning the artwork into, clothing, we thought we'd have one suit or maybe just a blazer and a dress, which the attendees who got these pieces of clothing would be able to decide which art piece they want, choose the size that they want it in. And, it's a great piece of memorabilia and something you can wear out.
Continuing on the silent auction, we thought it would be a good idea to have a silent auction instead of a live auction, because the live auction has a tendency to kind of dominate the night, kind of takes away from the true meaning and cause of the night. We want about 15 silent auction additional items, and we recommend that you concentrate your search for these items at two places, the Mazda Gallery and the Chevy Chase Pavilion. Retail is very highly concentrated there, so instead of spending a ton of time and energy on going out and asking these people to donate, you can basically spend half a day, maybe less, going to store and asking for a charitable donation. And also, we want to generate profit from the flowers theme. Our idea is that York Flowers, who has sponsored past events, would donate $100 table centerpieces, which would be sold at the end of the night. York Flowers would donate these and would not get any of the revenue, but in exchange, we would offer them the contract to vend the entire gala, which is obviously a pretty big contract because our theme is Make Flowers.
So to come to our speakers, we recommend as the chief speaker to be Nan Roman, who's the CEO and president of the National Alliance to End Homelessness. And we specifically chose Nan Roman because this is going to be the first gala of its kind for the home. And for that reason, we're really looking to draw and create a core group of followers for the home. And we think Nan Roman would do the best job of speaking to the importance and attainability of the goals of the home. And for that reason, to really appeal and speak individually to each attendee at the event. And of course, in terms of performers, we have a few listed here, pretty entertaining performers. We've got jazz, string quartet, and saxophonists, as well as an a cappella group we've recommended. And these are largely based out of the Friendship Heights neighborhood, so very good in the area, and have all performed in the past.
So here we have the expenses breakdown for the night. The location, the Hotel Monaco, costs $20,000, but that includes venue, catering, open bar, and staff, which is a great deal. Like Dan mentioned earlier, we have $5,000 set aside for a contract for York Flowers and any other decorations we're going to need. We have $13,000 set aside for entertainment, which includes the previously mentioned performers. We're hoping Nan Roman would speak pro bono, but if she's not, we worked in some money into that to that figure. Printing and advertisements, so invitations, publications, we set aside $3,000. And then we have another group, which is gift bags, sign, photography, which we set aside $4,000. So that brings a total to $45,000, which is $5,000 under budget, which of course gives us a $5,000 leeway, which we think is good. And then here we have the revenue breakdown. So a large proportion of our revenue is going to come from ticket sales, which we hope to raise $57,500 from. It would be $65,000, but we subtracted the cost of, we're going to give away a few tables to corporate sponsors. And then in addition to that, we hope to get $35,000 from these corporate sponsors, $15,000 from donors, so attendees of the gala, throughout the night. Silent auction, we're hoping to raise $5,000. Flowers, the centerpiece flowers, $2,500, and the artwork auction, $1,500. So here we have that's a total revenue of $119,000. The expenses are again $45,000, bringing the profit to $74,000, and plus the $5,000 leeway, and we think that's very achievable for a first gala. So in conclusion, we think that our theme of May Flowers, represents really well, represents the idea of new start and fresh beginnings, which the home is trying to build off of.
We just want to emphasize the fact that we think, the home's goals are very, very honorable, but very attainable. And we think perhaps the most important part of that is having a very solid foundation to grow from. And that's what we're hoping to do with this first gala, create a very strong supporting group and fans and friends of the home, and from there, build to the future, build towards the goals.
And although we mentioned that there does not need to be a social marketing initiative before the event, we think that moving forward after the event, building off the momentum, it's very important that you keep in close contact with not only the sponsors, but the attendees of the event.
Again, I want to say, great job, well thought out. I really appreciated the fact that you got our mission and what we really do, and that you incorporated it into this presentation. My question has to do with Nan Roman. Did anyone make contact with her?
No, we didn't make personal contact with her.
Okay.
We checked on her schedule when she's done events like this in the past, but we haven't personally reached out to her for just in case we wanted to change the event time.
I thought it was well thought out. I
And
like that.
we also found out that she is a local. She lives in D.C.
Excellent.
The cost estimates for your entertainment performers, did you guys contact any of them as well for specific prices?
We didn't contact them, but we went on their website and found out estimates.
And again, the entertainment price includes, as you said, price quote speaker, so it's a little bit variable to include in case fluctuations for whether she speaks for going on the prices and prices for the potential.
Could you do me a favor and flip back to the cost analysis? Thanks. Okay, I'm looking to, where did you guys, oh, open bar, I see it, okay. So yours, and again, I hate to keep concentrating on the bar, but, well, because they're expensive. So the 20,000 is the base cost, or is that for feeding and an open bar for your estimated number of guests? You get what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. Yeah, the 20,000 includes the catering, open bar, staff, and venue for the maximum capacity, which is 250. Pretty cheap, we thought, for a 4-star hotel.
Very, very good job. Thank you. Did you have parking in there?
Yeah, I believe parking is included in,
Okay.
in the location cost.
Great. Thanks.
Okay, good evening. First of all, I'd just like to start by thanking you all for having us. We've had a great experience experimenting with the home, and thank you for allowing us to learn about the problems of your home. So as you can see from our presentation, our group is called Team Driven, and the title is called Driven for the Future, because we think you guys are driven for the future, and we wanted to create a 2-part event that mirrors the passion you have and the passion you share with your residents. So we want to spread that passion within the community, and we think that's very doable with a 2-part event. And you came to us with the idea of creating something sexy. And while we've researched several other senior homes, and it's quite possible that you are the sexiest senior home out of any of them, we don't think that sexy is the way to go. So we researched your company, and from an outside perspective, we chose various words that we found on your website, and we think we'd like to go in a different way that engages the entire community, that engages all ages, and accomplishes our goal, both profit and community-oriented.
So here you can see some of the keywords that we pulled from your website. They reflect the core values of your home. Some of them also have to do with the mission of your home. I'm sorry. So from these keywords, as Dan said, we want to do something to reflect what you guys are trying to do in the long run, all right, both profit-wise And also, we want to have in mind attention to the community. So Grace is going to talk about exactly what we're talking about.
So we're trying to focus on like 3 different things: profit generation, community engagement, and home awareness. So we're proposing 2 events: a golf outing and a community night. The golf outing would be very much profit driven, whereas the community night would be obviously very community driven, both of which we feel will increase home awareness and meet our monetary goals.
So why a golf outing? Start first with our venue, Maryland National Golf Club, about 30 to 45 minutes away from Georgetown's campus. Very, very solid golf course. A lot of qualifying events, PGA, like Mid-Am, stuff like that have been played there, and we think that being in a nice area and really having that reputation will attract the clientele we're looking for. A golf outing also proposes kind of 2 advantages. The first being networking, both on your side, the business standpoint, as well as a very local kind of man-to-man interaction with the guests, as well as many different players from many different statuses and incomes. And then also it proposes great benefit to the home itself. Obviously, when you think of a golf course, a very beautiful place to be, great on a spring or fall evening. We figured we'd have the outing around 2 o'clock. And in that case, it provides a lot of the patients in the home to really go and have a nice experience on a nice day and kind of enjoy themselves. So obviously with golf outings, we have a good amount of opportunities, first being the sponsors. We've researched your annual reports and seen that you have a lot of great connections with a lot of families, small businesses, and obviously corporations. And we'd like to start by maybe looking into getting some different packages from them, as well as going out and kind of finding some others in the area that will definitely be willing to sponsor. And that main reason is going to be because of the recognition and awareness that a golf outing gives you. When you think of a venue like a golf outing, you have so many different things that you can sponsor, and they're very easy to kind of get a hold of. You can have different sponsors on holes, golf carts, for the bar, the lunch, platinum, like website awareness, a lot of different opportunities to really bring in a lot of money. And then continuing from that, this revenue stream can only continue over time, being that as it goes on, you're obviously going to get better at running a golf outing, and it has a little bit of a better concept considering that like it's a little bit more low risk than, say, a gala where you're worrying about a lot of staffing and meeting a lot of numbers in terms of 400 people or 500 people or what have you. It's a little bit more less risk and kind of a little bit easier to administer in the long run. So here we have our financial projection sheet. As you can see on the bold in the bottom, your total profit will be $78,548. I have contacted the golf course. Those numbers there under the expenses give you the price. And to address your drinks question that you might have about the open bar, that's a 2-hour fee. During/after lunch, it's a fully covered rate, unlimited, all provided by the golf course. So then we have obviously our sponsorship and the amount charged. Starting with the amount charged, sorry. $200 is actually a fairly conservative estimate for a golf outing. They usually bottom out at around $200, and they're all the way north of $350 sometimes. So we think that this will be very reasonable, especially for the people we're trying to attract that will be willing to spend this type of money and be at this type of professional type event. So looking, you might see the total, 63 sponsors. Actually, 75% of those, 42, however that might work out, are actually $500 or less. So it's really not too lofty in terms of looking for big-time sponsors. We're not asking for tens of thousands of dollars, but they do add up in a nice way. And then we factor in, obviously, for printing, which would mostly be around the course, obviously, with the banners and the different signs. And then we're expecting some donations as well, based on the fact that the clientele involved will hopefully be in that type of income bracket. And then also, just for fun, mulligans. You never know what kind of golfers you're going to get, so we figured we'd throw a price on those. You never know. So those are our numbers.
So those of you who are familiar with golf, as I show these slides, you may be a little surprised to see that golfers typically wear very funky pants. So one thing we'd like to incorporate in this outing, because we didn't want it to be your classic boring outing, we want it to be memorable. So here are some more golf pants, but as I go to the next slide, this guy might not look like your typical golfer. But I contacted Ward about a month or two ago, and I asked him to send me a picture of the pants, and I think they'd be perfect for this outing. First of all, it's a great opportunity for social media. So if we post pictures and we give everyone going to the golf outing a pair of pants before they attend, it's common that when you go to a golf outing, you'll get some kind of gift, and in this case, it's the pants. We create something that the guests would look forward to. We create a great picture of a golfer wearing these beautiful pants made by the residents of the home that they're supporting. And it's also just a way to get the atmosphere a little less formal, a little less strict, just to keep the spirit of the home within the guests.
So, like we said earlier, we feel like you guys approached us with two separate opportunities. There was the opportunity to help make a profit for the home, and then there was an opportunity to get more involved in the community. So, we wanted to split these tasks up into two separate events. Clearly, the more profit-driven event was the golf outing you saw earlier, and the community night would be the more community-oriented event. It would be a way to get out into the community, get involved, and get the name of the home out there to people who might not necessarily know your mission. So, that was the community night we had in mind. One important fact would be a day that we picked out was August 21st, which is Senior Citizens Night, which is kind of something to rally around. Also, it would be a great precursor to the golf outing. It would be a good way to kind of get word of the golf outing out and then have a fall outing. It's kind of free advertising space for you guys. Also, it would be a night where you could kind of get out into the community, get the home's name out. And we wanted to set a price that would be affordable for all demographics. That way, if you split it into two parts, you don't need to make a profit for this event. So the types of activities that would take place. We feel like you could have a magic show. We approached certain magicians about this. There are lots of corporate magicians in the DC area that you guys could approach. We also thought one good idea, which is kind of the image you guys wanted to go with, was a wacky spin on bingo. So certain resorts have kind of picked up on this trend. Some places you go out for a bingo night, but it's kind of a fun bingo night where actually the MC is a comedian. I've been to one where the guy dressed up as Elvis. It was a little weird, but it's kind of a fun way to get the residents involved. It definitely has the sort of image we feel like you were trying to project, and it would just kind of make for a fun night. It also has the potential for a silent auction. You could have the sponsors donate different items for that. It's really something that you can do with whatever you want to do with, as far as how generous the sponsors are, that sort of thing. But we also had another idea where we could turn the later part of the night into a musical showcase. So that way you could actually go out into the community and offer people something instead of just kind of posting posters and hoping people show up. So if you offered local high school and college bands and a cappella groups, any sort of musical group really, the opportunity to come and perform, we feel like you would get a very separate crowd and kind of a younger audience and an audience that would be really receptive to your message. So a good location would be the Bethesda Chevy Chase Gymnasium. We believe that that would be a location that would be easily attainable if you offered the opportunity for groups at their school to perform, and they actually have a Grammy-winning music program. So there are all sorts of groups just that would love the opportunity to perform. One incentive that you could offer them is GW has a music studio on their Mount Vernon campus that's very easily accessible, and you could offer the winner studio time. So it would be another interesting twist to the night. Like I said, there are lots of local talent. There's the Chimes at Georgetown, the Troubadours at GW. Chevy Chase has a very good jazz band. So there are all sorts of opportunities to invite musicians to come show up for this event. Another one of the advantages would be a social media presence. So I've actually had experience doing an event like this for a not-for-profit. And one thing that we did was we took a video of the bands and posted it on the not-for-profit's Facebook page, and you would be amazed at the traffic that we had to the page.
It's a great way to get people to show up, look at the website, and hopefully they scroll down and see the other great things that you have posted there. It's just a great opportunity for advertising. So here is the sheet, or here's our profit projections. So we don't make quite as much as the golf tournament, but it's still $3,000, which means that this event can be sustainable. It's something that you can do with what you want for the future. And it's just a great way to get involved in the community. Tickets aren't expensive at $10 a ticket, so maybe someone wants to come for the bingo but not necessarily the music night. Well, they can do that, and $10 is not a big price to pay. Or if they wanted to do it the other way around, maybe they're a family of the bands playing. So we felt like this was a great community-driven event for you guys.
So I think we should address why did we choose to do a golf outing and a community night instead of a typical gala? Well, one of the inherent costs of a gala is that the amount of time it requires to prepare it. There's a lot of managerial costs, and there's, more importantly, there's a need to plan many months in ahead. What we have planned, one of the bullets you'll see, it's a steeper learning curve to plan a gala. For a golf outing, it's actually quite simple. We actually have talent within our group who can help you with that. In addition, the community night, we feel that the high schools and the local talent from universities as well would be more than receptive to come and just showcase what they have. And most importantly, it's a good way for you to get the image and the mission of the home out to the community.
We researched other nonprofit organizations that host annual galas, and we found names like Susan G. Komen and Habitat for Humanity, both of which have very large social media presence with over 500,000 likes on Facebook. And we believe that with the high cost of gala, it's much easier to pull one off when you have a very well-established network. So with your current position in the community, we feel that our golf outing and our community night will be a much better way to get the mission you want to convey out in a better manner.
And yeah, Phil and Grace both just touched upon it, but the golf outing provides an immediate, kind of a little bit more stable and less risky valuation in terms of coming up with an event to raise that type of money. And we believe that the plan we have in place, as well as the nice community gathering, a really great opportunity in both events to have a great opportunity to continue to extend local awareness and business relationships for years to come. And between the two, we believe we have a very stable and present profit measure there, and we think it can definitely continue for years to come. We'd like to thank you again for your time.
Very, very good indeed. I have one question about the golf outing, which is actually a couple of questions around the pants. Are you going to send the pants to the home beforehand?
So we're not going to send the pants to the home. It's the home of the individual golfing.
Yeah.
Either that, or they can pick them up at the event before if they'd like to show up early. But when they sign up, they'd have an option of the either.
And did you factor in the cost of the mailing?
We factored in the cost to the outing, but as Andrew said, that cost of $200 is fairly cheap for typical golf outings. So if you'd like to take a more aggressive price status on the outing and maybe shoot for a lower sponsor projection, it would generate similar numbers. So that's one thing we took into account.
Yeah, and as Dan noted, the 200 is actually with the pants included. And if you do notice, between the food as well as the greens fees, you still have almost a $10,000 cushion in terms of what the golf course is actually charging. So there's definitely a lot of room to adjust that price and even make it cheaper in that event. So.
Okay, so sorry to keep harping on the pants, but is the club okay with the pants? Dress code?
We haven't asked them, but I mean, in terms I think so in terms of they're not sweatpants or anything like that. They are nice pants, and there are a lot of tour players that are into that style. And I think, especially due to the fact that it's for a cause, I don't think there'd be a problem at all.
Okay, I'm gonna stay on the pants. Okay, so my question is, where did you get the estimate of the cost of making the pants?
We actually don't have that estimate.
So I tried to contact various people in your office just for a quick estimate.
And no response?
Not really.
Really? Okay.
But
Okay.
so we just gave a general like $20 to $30 cost.
Okay.
Which was fairly high.
Well, actually, the cost the pants you
I had
made.
3 pairs made.
And how much
And
was
they
it per pants?
were,
Sorry.
Let's say $80 in fabric, and for 3, that's probably going to cover it. That would do it. The 200 would do a pair of pants.
And hopefully, as you buy more, the price will go down.
So wait a minute, I'm confused. Are the pants $200? I thought I heard $20 or $30.
No, that's
That
just
was
factored
our
into that
estimate,
total.
Factored into the total of the price for the golf outing.
Even still, let's say the pants were 90, for instance. Even still, you'd still be charging. You're still making money in terms of what the course is charging you. So it's really not even hurting you. That total number still leaves you.
The majority of the revenue will come from the sponsors.
Okay. Okay, and then one other question I've got for you, and how do we handle this? Because I love the dual approach, it's great. There are several other facilities, there's 19 facilities in the district, 2 of which do golf outings on an annual basis and have built kind of a reputation. How do we break into, in your opinion, break in as being a newbie, so we would be the 3rd out of 19. Do you have a recommendation of how we would be successful in that?
Well, first, as I mentioned before, I think it's good to kind of look at like the donors you already have and a lot of that connection in there, and as well in going around and kind of some of the businesses you're attracting, definitely the local businesses, and especially for golf outings, because it gives them a great opportunity to get their name out. Insurance companies, consultants, accountants, lawyers, those are the type of people that would be willing to give you $500 as well as play in the event and pay the premium because they're not contributing to the platinum or gold level. So I think those types of people, especially the type of people that are already into that bracket, as well as even members of the club. I mean, these types of invitations are extended to them. They might have a friend or connection of some sort like that. So I think it aligns well.
And another group we can add to the people who would be at the golf outing might be Georgetown alumni or Georgetown employees. So we have some employees who would love to participate who are in DC due to our location. So if somehow we'd partner with the golf outing or just send out an invitation to the golf outing, say Georgetown helped in the idea, I think you'd get a lot of traffic with that as well.
And I do know golfers who say there's never too much golf, so I'm sure, yeah, okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
So the main problem currently facing the home is that you are drawing about $1.5 to $2 million annually from your endowment, which is just not a sustainable figure. In our initial meeting, you had mentioned that you already cut back as much as you want to on resident care and don't want to further compromise on that aspect of the home. So in order to continue operating, we needed to find ways to generate outside revenue. One idea that was pitched was to throw a semi-formal gala somewhere in DC to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the home. This would be a great way to raise awareness and funds for the operating. Our idea and concept for the gala is a blast from the past. We wanted to find a way for guests of the gala to connect with and relate to the residents of the home. We were really inspired when we thought that the elderly residents of the home probably have had really unique life experiences and have great stories to share. So for entertainment for the evening, we'd ideally have 2 to 3 residents give about 5-minute speeches on topics such as what it was like to be a teenager in the 50s or what it was like going to college during Vietnam War, things like that. And in keeping with this theme, we wanted to decorate the room with resident then and now pictures. So have pictures of them when they were younger next to pictures of them living now in the home. And the formality of this event would be business casual.
So the venue that we've chosen for our gala is the Corcoran Gallery of Art. It was founded in 1874 by Mr. William W. Corcoran, who I'm sure you all know is also the same Mr. Corcoran who helped found the original Louise home, which eventually became part of the LLDH conglomerate. So we have this shared history here, and it's a sort of symbolic reunification of Mr. Corcoran's generosity from over a century ago, playing itself out again today. So for the cost of the gala, we have about a 200-person estimate. The base cost for the Corcoran Gallery of Art is $10,000, And then if you add in catering, open bar, entertainment, audiovisual, and decor, we come out to $22,200 for costs. So the reason that we have $0 for cost for staff is that I believe we were told in the original presentation that the LLDH home is a partnership with a local high school, and so we would want to get local high schoolers to volunteer at the event as staffing in exchange for community service hours.
Although sponsors typically generate the largest amount of revenue for galas, we believe it will be difficult to replicate this for the LLDH home because this is only the first year that the gala will be running, as well as there being a low awareness of the charity. However, to counter this, we have developed different tiers of sponsorship with bronze, silver, and gold, with each having its own benefits to the price associated with it. To reach our revenue goal, we will ideally have 1 gold sponsor, 2 silver sponsors, and 4 bronze sponsors, with a list of potential sponsors and auction donors listed.
At the event, we would like to have a silent auction, and we have several different items from local businesses. We feel like they're very manageable in terms of value for donations, and we feel like these businesses would be happy to donate because it would provide good, positive, moral advertising for them. We expect a 15% increase, or hopefully more, on the value of each item during the silent auction. And additionally, our big ticket item would be a piece of jewelry from Pamplona in Friendship Heights. Other ways to donate, we would also have a live auction in which we would auction off 5 different paintings presented by the artists from the home themselves, and we think this would be a nice touch because you really see who's painting, what you're purchasing, and it'd be a nice, memorable moment. Additionally, we'd auction off the design for a pair of pants. Obviously, we can't have the pants there themselves because they're different sizes. So after the person, whoever bid on them and won them, we would get the sizing and get those made for them. Additionally, we'd have a 50-50 raffle in which the tickets would be $5 per person, and the winner would take home 50% of that. However, and the organization would get the other 50%. However, typically the winners will donate some of that back to the organization, so that would be closer to 75% hopefully, or something along those lines. And lastly, we'd have a blitz collection near the end of the night when everyone's having a good time, and we hope that volunteers would walk around and collect last-minute donations and then give donors a small prize, maybe something that lights up or a balloon of some sort that identifies who donates, and this would sort of encourage everyone to donate last minute and get some extra money. And these are our sources, and we expect that the gala will make $70,000 through these.
How to sell tickets? Well, firstly, we will put the event on the LLDH website. Secondly, we hope to launch a social media campaign focused mainly on Facebook and LinkedIn. Third, we will hope our sponsors and auction donors will promote the event, both to promote their generosity, which will promote the gala in consequence. Finally, we'll contact past donors in the hope they will continue their generosity towards the home. For our social media campaign, currently the LDH home does have a low amount of fans, and hopefully by promoting the page by different members of the organization, we will be able to grow this number to easily contact many people for future events, as well as for the gala. Moreover, for our LinkedIn campaign, we will ask different people involved with the home to share the event with their connections.
In terms of engagement, we would like to send thank you notes to all the attendees of the gala, obviously, to create good relationships and hopefully sustainable relationships throughout the years. Additionally, we'd like to propose an email list with our supporters or previous donors or sponsors that would send out updates about the home and events related to the home, just to keep that network informed and allow them to participate in future events and donations. And finally, we'd like to propose incentives to the most influential and generous donors. These would be like extra free tickets to events or free tables, in the hopes that they would then invite friends and family who are equally well off and could become a valuable part of our network, both financially and in terms of community.
So the board of the LLDH home asserted the goal of raising $75,000 in profit off the gala alone, which we don't think is a realistic goal. It's the first year of the gala and there's low visibility, and we calculated that we could make a net profit of about $48,000. However, we went on to index this at a growth rate of 10% per year, assuming that awareness and visibility of the charity will grow, and we predict that you'll be able to make this $75,000 goal off the gala alone by the year 2019. So that leaves this year, we need to make about $27,000 more in revenue, and we came up with 2 additional strategies to do this.
So our first additional strategy, in addition to the gala, would be a 5K run. So everyone knows how a 5K run works. It's a really easy way for members of the community to get involved. It's a pretty low entry cost for people that would have wanted to come to the gala but maybe couldn't afford it. It's also something that's really easy to host somewhere cheap and local, like at a park. And it's another opportunity for that symbiotic relationship with local high schoolers who would donate their time for community service hours in exchange for us getting free staffing for the event. So we would assume about 250 participants for the 5K, and with the projected revenue and costs, it would come out to a profit of about $17,000. For sponsorships, we'd want to do a similar tiered style that we did with the gala itself, except this time we'd want to try and tap into a different source of revenue, such as sports stores or local stores that might not have wanted to donate to the gala itself because, again, it was too expensive. And in exchange for their sponsorships, we would put their company logos on the t-shirts of the runners, and that's how they would get the word out.
Our second additional strategy would be board banquets, where board members would volunteer to host fundraising events in their homes. We expect to get about 150 invited people to come, spread out about approximately 3 parties, depending on how many board members volunteer. And we'd ask a minimum donation of $100 from the attendees. We feel this is a really great option because it's a more intimate setting and it's with their friends. It's not an event for a charity they don't know. It's more of a party with their friends, an excuse for a party. And it would also be a fundraiser as well as a fundraiser, because not only would you be getting donations from the party automatically, but you would also be expanding your support base to a whole new social group. And along the same lines, we'd suggest that the LDH home send out the invitations and thank you notes, because that way you have the guest information and you'd be able to keep in contact with them in the future, and hopefully you'd be able to get them to donate more than just to this event. Here's just an example of an invitation to a similar event in my hometown. On the front, it has all the information for the party, and on the back, it has the mission statement and the Board of Trustees. This way, the guests know a little bit about the foundation before they get to the event. They know who they're donating to, and hopefully, then once they get to the event, they'll want to learn more, and that would be an opportunity for the board members to explain. So the cost would be really minimal for the home. It would be just the invitations and the thank you notes, because we'd ask the host to pick up the expenses of the party. We realize that $1,500 is a big price tag for the host of the party. However, we looked at the financial report from last year, and we realized that many of the board members already donate this amount of money, and this is a way for their donations to have a much, much larger impact for the home, as we'd expect to get a revenue of $15,000, which would be almost pure profit for the home. In summary, we took a realistic approach to this. We really like the idea of a gala. We just don't feel that in the first year it would reach the goal. However, with our 3 events combined, we feel that we'd be able to exceed your goal and come in with a profit of about $80,000.
I have a question for sure. I'm sorry. So shocking. All right, I have a question about the 50-50 raffle, because I love that, and I want to know if anyone checked the legality in the district. Oh, sorry. Well, we've worked together 25 years. Because we've wanted to do that, and I don't know, and I don't know if you checked it, that there is, I think, a legality issue, but maybe I'm wrong. I know that across the border, Blessed Sacrament, which is on the Maryland side, does a 50-50, but I'm just not sure, and so that's why I'm asking. It was a great idea, I just don't know if it's legal.
No, we did not check. We didn't know if there was going to be a legality issue. But if you know that it is legal in Maryland, then...
I'm going to just say Georgetown said it was okay. But I do want to say this is a fantastic presentation. I loved the realism that you presented to us. You kind of, snap out of it. You're not going to make the 75,000, and different ways to make up for that. I like the board idea too, the dinners. It's great.
Yeah, I'm curious if you think because I like the board dinner idea very much, but do you think that will then essentially be their sole source of donation for the year? And you're right, if they're giving 1,500 and 50 people show up and give 100 more, then it's certainly very helpful. But do you think that could be an add-on to their annual gift? In other words, we'll take your 1,500, but also host a dinner and buy the steak and baked potato.
I think it definitely depends on how you want to market it. Like if you want to offset the cost by saying this is a donation you make anyways. But one thing that Sarah touched on is that it's an exponential growth of the original donation. So I think that even if this does replace their donation that they'd usually make, you're still getting much back in return. And beyond the financial expansion, this is another way to reach more donors. People who might not necessarily know about the LLDH home, so they wouldn't have been involved in the gala or the 5K, but they want to party at their friend's house. It's just another way to reach out.
Neat, just neat stuff. I too applaud your being realistic with the little cold water about the gala. My question is about the gala itself and the Corcoran. I think I recall correctly that you're having volunteers staff that.
That would be our goal, yes.
Yeah. The volunteers that would be staffing it would be for the auctions and so on, but not the catering, right?
The catering, correct. The catering would probably be from separate catering company.
Good. Stop. Great. Okay, thank you. I think that's it.
All right, welcome everybody. We're here to present the Diamond Anniversary Gala. I'm Drew DePrinzio.
I'm Tucker Cowden.
I'm Erica Tai. Misty Lee.
And we're calling it Diamond to the symbol of the 75th anniversary. Go next slide. All right, so here are our four main goals that in the beginning we started out with these, and this is what the entire presentation is kind of built off of. First, we want to net 75 grand for the home. Second, raise awareness for the mission and work of the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home. So this is all about getting out in the community and letting people know what's going on in your home and kind of raising awareness of what you guys are doing for the community. And the next one, build long-term relationships with sponsors and the general community. Kind of goes along with that, is that we want to make friends that if they're going to sponsor us, they'll do it in the future too, so it's sustainable. And finally, celebrate the generosity and hard work of everyone affiliated with the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt Home. So this is just to bring a little praise to you guys for all you've done and kind of make sure everybody knows about that.
Okay, so we're going to move into the sponsorship now. So in front of you, the packet, this is actually a business letter that we drafted that would be ready to send, and then behind it is an invitation that we also designed. So basically we'd be sending out these invitation packets, so that would include the invitation, and then there would be a purchase card, so there would be people could RSVP, they could send in their checks to buy a ticket, it's for sponsorship, and there would also be postmark envelope included. And some other stuff to have in there, obviously the sponsorship level, the letter, and then stuff that we're trying to target past sponsors here because we looked into the Arts and Libation event that you had last spring, and we were seeing a repeat, like the Morrison Healthcare Food Service, for example. They donated like $5,000+, and we went back and we saw that the big donors of like an event like that where it was just art and wine tasting, it was like donors that you guys already have, like that have been donating to the home. So we think that we want to like continue this relationship. We want to build deeper upon this, but also we also want to reach out to new sponsors in the community. So that's why we will follow up to the people that we send these invitation packets with email, with phone calls, and we actually created a sponsorship video that we think really embodies what the home is about.
right, so now we're going to move into advertising. We thought the main way to go about this was a Facebook event and also Twitter. So we think a good thing about having sponsors like corporate sponsors is that they already have sites like this, and we can kind of help them out and they can help us out. So if we were to contact them and they can spread the word, maybe just a little blurb about this, then we could also put a little blurb about their company and help them out. And this is going to be our main way to spread the information about the event and reach a broader crowd. And here are the pre-gala events. The first thing we came up with was an e-fundraising event. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of things like Kickstarter or internet websites where people, they don't have to know about your home beforehand and they can still donate to it. So the best one we came up with was Rocket Hub, which is partnered with A&E, the television channel, and they are focused on social good. So a lot of what they're about is helping people who actually improve the community around them. So the point of this was to, first of all, gain exposure and people in the DC community about the home, and also gain funding. So the way this works is we're looking to gain about $10,000 from this, and people will see a short video like the one we just had, and if they want to donate, they can donate a small amount, and if a lot of people do that, then we can make enough money.
Additionally, before the actual gala in the spring, we're thinking of having an open house that would provide an opportunity for sponsors and potential sponsors to visit the home. So this way, sponsors will get the chance to meet the residents, gain a better understanding of the mission of the home, be inspired by its cause and also its dedication to the DC community. By facilitating a relationship between the sponsors and the residents, we hope that this will encourage the sponsors to donate generously in good confidence. So potential events that we have planned or that we are going to plan include a brunch with the residents, also dance lessons to allow the sponsors and the residents to mingle in a different dynamic, and also an afternoon with painting so the sponsors have a chance to partake in the making of the artwork. Additionally, right before the actual gala starts, we're thinking of having a cocktail hour. So we were thinking of having two separate receptions, a VIP reception and a general reception. So the VIP reception will be open to the gala and the diamond sponsors. Both receptions will be open bar. However, the only difference between the two receptions is that the VIP reception will be hosted by a distinguished guest. We were thinking either a politician, a Georgetown University professor, or a DC community leader. This would give the sponsors, the VIP sponsors, a chance to meet and greet each other, socialize, and also network with the distinguished guest.
So now I'm going to talk a little about the event flow. So to play along with the whole Diamond 75th anniversary theme, sorry. So we will be having the event at the Four Seasons, and Tucker will talk about that later. But basically, these are just some decoration ideas, like this picture, this big picture. It looks very like elaborate and pretty, but it's actually a very DIY, like low-cost decoration type thing. You get these branches, and then you just string you can string lights, or in this case, they have like crystals strung from them, and it just adds to the whole ambiance of the entire gala. And I was also looking into sequin tablecloths, and this down here is an LED like light tree, and it's really, really pretty, and it just adds, I guess, to the entire night.
Additionally, at the actual gala, we'll have a table featuring our Adopt a Senior program. So through this program, sponsors will have the chance to sign up to adopt a senior, probably one that they hopefully met at the open house. This way, the sponsors will be able to deliver care packages or have care packages delivered to the residents, and also sign up for monthly visits. Our goal of this is not to focus on the financial aspect, but instead to foster real connections. We realize that seniors in this time do not need an extra check to make themselves feel better. They need genuine human connections, as most of their direct family is unavailable or busy.
All right, so I'm going to take this. During the gala, there's going to be a silent auction. Our three main things were Living Social Escapes, sponsor gifts, and residents' artwork. I don't know if you've read into Living Social, you probably have. So this one, Curacao Resort and all meals, is only $1,000 on there, and I think we can have somebody, if they're bidding in a silent auction, we can make money off of things like that. It doesn't have to be an escape. And also, we're going to focus on the artwork. Hopefully people, look at it and they'll see, that people put time and work into this, and we can also make a profit from that.
I'll talk a little bit about the financial side of the event. First of all, going back to the problem, at the beginning of the semester, you all presented us with a challenge that was based in the quote in the first bullet point there. We're eating into our endowment and need to preserve it, but we don't want to cut into our programs. So we tried to approach this event in a way that would preserve the integrity of the programs at the home, as well as the integrity of the endowment and the four sources of funding. So, of course, we had the goal of raising $75,000. We looked at it. The current operating budget as of the last fiscal year for LLDH was over $11 million. And that's supported by a lot of different means, but what we wanted to do was just provide the $75,000. The reasons for using a gala as an event are very, very widespread. First of all, you get to showcase and publicize the home. It builds a different, when you have an event like this, it allows kind of the things that the home stands for as far as providing a service really spread around the community more than just a yearly donation drive would do. Secondly, you get to celebrate the achievements of the home over 75 years. You don't last 75 years as an organization, especially a nonprofit, by accident. So this is a chance that we have with the Diamond Anniversary to celebrate all of the good work that the Lisner Home's been doing, you know, as a conglomerate for the DC community over such a long period of time. And that's why we kind of went with a more higher end seeming option. You have the Four Seasons, which is a 5-star, 5-diamond hotel. And while being in a very comfortable setting, at the same time, it allows for a little bit of prestige to kind of commemorate the gravity of the event. And then, of course, cover the cost, which is the bottom line. And galas are very good about doing that because they're kind of a standard way of getting people out to support unique organizations, which is what we have with the home. So here's a closer look at the numbers. These are some ticketing levels. I actually had the opportunity this past summer to work with actually a political organization back home on a similar type fundraising dinner. And so based on that experience, I kind of came up with this price structure for ticketing. You have a single ticket for $350. People or organizations have the option of hosting a table, which would be 10 seats for just the price of 10 tickets, $3,500. But that also includes a commitment on their part, and so that makes it easier to get those seats filled. A gala sponsor would be a $7,500 contribution, and that includes a VIP reception admittance. And then a diamond sponsor is a $10,000 contribution, which would include kind of a joint publicizing of the event and that sponsor, as well as priority seating of their table and those kinds of options. Here are our goals for revenue. We'd like to have, ideally, one diamond sponsor. If we could find more, that would be great, but our bottom line would be to get one person or organization willing to donate $10,000 to support the gala. 5 gala sponsors for a total of $37,500, and then $70,000 from roughly 200 seats from individual or table sponsors. Online fundraising, we would hope that Drew talked about earlier, we'd hope to generate an additional $8,000. And then I'll move on to cost. That comes to a total of $125,500 for revenues. The cost of the gala, I contacted the Four Seasons and discussed their event cost. For the meal, which includes the rental of the space, the entire food service, the open bar for all guests, that's $135 a person, which is a really good, efficient, and easy to manage way of putting together cost. Decorations, we budgeted $3,000. A music budget of $1,000. We looked at getting a Georgetown group or another community group to provide some musical entertainment for the background of our event. And then $1,000 for invitations and publicity. Again, as we talked about at the beginning, we want to have kind of a formal invitation set up where we reach out using the mail, using that packet, and then follow up with the email correspondence with the video and more information about the home. And that's what that $1,000 would go to. And then a $500 photography budget to kind of commemorate the event and, again, use that for publicity after the gala. So the total cost, if we had 250 attendees, which is just what this modeling is based on, would be $39,250. Subtracting that from the revenues gives us a profit of $86,250.
And then I'd just like to jump in and say that we still haven't factored in the profits from the silent auction because we aren't sure of what type of things that we would be having yet.
Also, we felt that that was a more stable way of doing it. We think that this event can support its own cost, and that allows us to have the silent auction be a completely profit-based option. So that will only add to it. And so we thank you very much for the opportunity to be a part of your decision-making process, and we'll take any questions.
The fact that you all did the video and this presentation are just absolutely spectacular. Thank you so much. But I mean, you almost had me crying. Not that that's so hard to do, but it was very moving.
Great job. Who's going to give you $10,000?
Okay, so we looked I actually based this a lot off of the Arts and Libations event that you guys had, and I went through your spring newsletter. But because the Morrison Healthcare Service, they donated, jump in, $5,000 or more for just this one event, which was at the home. It was I think it was a 2-hour event, and it was in comparison to the gala, it would be a lower profile event, and this is a much higher profile event. So if this company was willing to donate $5,000 more dollars to this one event, then we're confident that we can bring in sponsors such as Morrison Healthcare Food Services, or local companies, just not to keep repeating the same names like Bank of America, Blue Cross Blue Shield, some people that you guys have worked with. We're confident that they want to come back because they come back year after year. So that's where we got the $10,000.
We're confident, given the long history between the two organizations, we'll be able to find at least one $10,000 diamond sponsor.
And that's why we said one, not two. Realistically, we hope to get more, but yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's give another round of applause for all of our teams. Let's also thank our judges before we hear the winner. At this time, we will move on to the reception at the rear of the auditorium. The judges will confer in this room, and then you will hear who has won the competition momentarily.